Never seen a lame man walk. Never heard a dumb man talk. Never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Never seen a cancer dead. Never seen all the poor get fed. Never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name. Find a home. Never seen a weak find.
Everybody, how's it going? It is time. It is time. Clint Clark, my friend. It is time. It is time for the Big C and Bigger T podcast. Here, I'm in my new digs down here in beautiful Bearden, Arkansas, Bear Country.
I don't know that was. I don't know what's out there.
And Clint, as always, coming from beautiful Greenbrier, Arkansas, the hometown.
Go ahead. I'll let you interrupt it.
Or the graduation city of both Big C and Bigger T. Clint, how are you, buddy?
And I'm fantastic. I think we both classify Greenbrier as our hometown.
Yeah. Well,
it's where
I'm going to claim Worcester.
Worcester, the greater. I don't know, like they call Chicago, Chicagoland. I guess the greater Greenbrier land area.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, always coming to you with. Well, I came to you from Galveston that one time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I had my trucker look going on.
That's right.
So, but yeah, there's that one time I came to you from Galveston. But other than that, usually coming to you from beautiful Greenbrier, Arkansas.
That's right.
And living the dream.
Good, man.
Me and you were talking, yesterday about how the housing market's just bonkers right now.
Oh man, it's crazy, isn't it?
Me and the wife looked at a house, found a house we like. We have a good bit of equity in ours. And so we made an offer on a house, and I'm not actively looking. There's one thing's like, hey, I saw a house that I might like. She found that we were interested. It has some features we like. So we made an offer on it.
Yeah.
Offered $19,000 above asking. And our offer was not accepted.
Above asking.
Yeah, 19 grand above asking.
Did you offend them or something? Like,
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they didn't like me.
Was it somebody from our old high school days that
maybe his ex-girlfriend's father or something. I don't know. But no, my offer was not accepted, which that just shows you it wasn't the right time. And
I've heard of that happening in lots of places, man. It's a crazy world we're living in. It's like I was telling you, I think, was it you I was talking to? I said,
yeah, I think we had this conversation.
I was driving around and down in Camden yesterday going to get some groceries and I drove by the Ford place, and you could literally play a football game on the field without having to on the car lot without having to move any cars. Like there was that few cars on the, it's crazy, man. It's a different world. Yeah. Well, the other day, Clint, I thought about you this morning. I was on my way to church, and usually on my way to church, my since I moved to Bearden, my drive time to church is like 10 minutes instead of, like 30, 35 minutes is what it used to be. And, a lot of times I'll listen to, maybe there's local preachers on the radio, or I'll listen to, some praise and worship music on my phone, or, then sometimes I'll just see what's on the, we have a couple good oldies, like rock stations or whatever. Well, as soon as I got in my car, I switched stations, just scanned one over, and turned the page was on.
It's a good
and
song.
When you were on Marco Polo with us the other day, you were listening to Turn the Page, Bob Seger, on your lunch break or something.
Yeah, Bob Seger.
And that day, that song got stuck in my head, And so here I am getting ready to go preach, and I'm listening to Smoke the day's last cigarette.
What they're trying to tell you is this perfect sermon was on the next page. You need
That's right. That's right. Turn the page.
Galatians 1, you need to go Galatians 2.
Turn the
Turn the page. It was
turn the page.
He was talking to you. No, but that's one of the things. I know we chase rabbits in this. I'm to the point in my life where I have bougie things that I like, and I have satellite radio.
Yeah,
and I will never not have satellite radio again. I'm spoiled. That thing that they give me for free, they're like, here, we're just going to give this to you. You ain't got to do anything. Just turn the knob and it works. I'm like, no, I'd rather pay for it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's just I'm bougie, so I'm going to have the satellite radio from now on.
Well, something we don't talk about enough on here, I don't think, though, is music, right? Because
right, yeah,
we're both. That's one of the things that bond us together. We're both lovers of music. And one of the and turning the page, I was just thinking about that song, and I thought, man, we need to talk about that on the podcast because he was listening to it the other day. So I just wanted to talk about it real quick. That song is so cool because it's him, Bob Seger, telling about what it's like being on the road and being like this star, and people always wanting stuff from him and people making fun of him because he's got long hair and all this different stuff. And, around the time he wrote that, there was a lot of other artists that were writing songs that gave us insights on what it was like to be a rock star. And one of the most famous and one that bonds you and I comes from a group called the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel California.
Yeah.
If you listen to it, I remember people used to say, it's about hell. You can't listen to that. No, it's not. It's about the music industry. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Once you sign on the dotted line, those grubby business people in the music industry, they have you, and those guys, it's so neat when those rockers, I think, do an honest, turn the page. Bob Seger's just being real honest about what he goes through as an artist. Hotel California, the Eagles give us, a real honest look at what it's like being in that industry and stuff like that. And there's a lot of there's several artists. I was trying to think of some others, but I was going to look them up. But yeah,
and
there's out there like that.
Maybe gives me things like Metallica does a great cover of that song.
Oh yeah.
They do great is great covers. I mean,
you know what came one after Turn the Page?
Oh, I have no idea.
Enter Sandman.
Oh, it's a good one.
So, First Baptist Thornton, your preacher, on his way to church this morning, was listening to Turn the Page and then Enter Sandman. Anyway, I don't know if I should confess that.
Yeah, there could be.
Some will be proud, some will be, oh, okay. But man. Anyway, I just want to, because you were listening to that song the other day, and I was like,
that's pretty cool. You're right. We don't talk enough about music on here. We'll have to do that more.
My mom raised me on some good music, and
yeah,
and the reason I said the Eagles bonds us is for my 19th birthday, my mom bought me 2 tickets to the Eagles, and I took Clint with me, and we were in horrible seats. And Clint got beer spilled on him by some drunk girl. Yeah, but it was still one of the best concerts ever.
It was great. It was a great concert. It was because we kind of had side view, like the stage was here, and we're kind of off halfway see the stage. But it was a good time. It was a War Memorial.
Yeah,
back before they really did a lot of concerts in War Memorial. I think they'd done the Rolling Stones, and then they did the Eagles, and the Eagles was the second one they did.
And that was the Hell Freezes Over tour, because Don Henley said, when will, a reporter asked him, said, when will the Eagles get back together? And he said, when hell freezes over. So they called that first album back. What was that, 95?
94, 95, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I turned 19 during Desperado. Just remember that. We struck midnight during about their 6th.
I think we were. I think that would have been 95, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All right, Clint. We got to talk some holy shnikes, and We got a few things today as far as that goes. One of them is some Faulkner County love with some quarterbacks.
Right. Yeah. And Giovanni Johnson from Conway has been playing at Rice. He's got a full scholarship at Rice. He's down there. But that's been a couple of years, but something that I don't think that we've ever seen, and I don't know if we'll ever see again, is both the starter quarterback for Greenbrier, Cooper Wilcox, signing, I believe, with the University of Central Oklahoma. He's committed to them. And I don't know the kid's name. The quarterback for Bologna signing with UCA.
Yeah.
So 3 quarterbacks out of Faulkner County going to school for free because they can throw a football.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And then for this year to have Greenbrier and Bologna's quarterback both.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty
You're
awesome.
right. I doubt that's ever happened, And we hadn't had many at Greenbrier that have signed, gone to college, I guess, to play quarterback anyway.
No, I mean the Bertram boys, they were both good.
And
the one of them went to SMU, and then the younger brother he ended up at the Harvard of the South, Arkansas Tech University. So, which you got to be a genius to get in there, I hear.
Yeah.
Got to have at least a 2.0. It ain't easy.
Well, congrats to them, man. Congrats to and of course we, being from Greenbrier, we watched Cooper a little closer, and we went to high school with Matt, his dad, and Cassie, his mom, and they're great parents, and they've supported him, and he was the heart and soul of that team, and it'd been nice to see, and they had a tough road to hoe, but it'd been nice to see if he hadn't have got hurt, what they could have done, but it still would have been a tough one against PA there. With
PA's, they're a juggernaut of Arkansas high school football. But speaking of quarterbacks, the other one that we want to talk about was, you hadn't heard about it till I brought it up to you. The Mina Kimes, or is it Mila or Mina? Mia Kimes and Jeff Garcia, the beef. Basically, what happened for you guys that haven't heard it, I'm sure most of you know who Jeff Garcia is. Just played quarterback for the 49ers. Kimes basically said that that the Niners are winning in spite of Garoppolo instead of because of Garoppolo. Which Garcia says she ain't never thrown a football. She needs to just shut up and mind her own business. Now, at first you can kind of see, I see both. I see what the point he's trying to make, but it didn't come out right. And I'm not defending what he said, because you don't get to where she is without knowing the game. You just don't. The day, like you were saying, the days of being a pretty face and just getting on there, like, no, you got to know your stuff too, because you'll get exposed quick.
Well, and look, he was defending Garoppolo. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. And he played 49ers, so he's obviously defending somebody in house. That's what he's trying to do. And I'm man enough to admit that I played college football. You didn't. I've played more football than you have. But I would say if you ask knowledge of the game, you probably know more X's and O's than I do.
Well, and the thing is, these guys, these people like Mia Kimes, and like it's all about relationships for these reporters. And a lot of what she's saying is stuff she's hearing from other people. She's not just coming up with that stuff on her own. She's not just coming up with that watching film. She may be, but she's probably learning that stuff because she's talking to some teammates and other NFL players that are saying, look, Garoppolo, they could be better if they had someone different than Garoppolo in there. And she's not the only one saying it. And so that's where Garcia is known to run his mouth at some dumb things. Okay. He's done that in the past when he was a player, and of course, I guess he's a little more famous. Terrell Owens ran his mouth about Garcia. That was the big one that time. But he was, There's other people saying that same thing. Why didn't he say that about them? There's other people saying that. Mia Combs maybe, she may be getting a little more pub because she's, on ESPN and everything. But yeah, he needs to be quiet. And
no, and man, just because somebody hasn't played the game doesn't mean that they don't know the game. And she knows her stuff. I saw Molly Querom, defender on First Cake, said she's seen NFL Hall of Famers being there and turned to her and asked her for her opinion.
Yeah.
She knows the game. Yeah. You can defend your guy without attacking somebody else. Yeah. But on to more football.
Holy Snikes, Clint.
Yeah, this is the biggest one. It's just
the end of an era, maybe.
You got to think about it. And somebody brought this up. If you're 30 years old, you probably don't know NFL football without Tom Brady in it.
No.
I mean, you just don't. Tom Brady was playing football when I was in college. He played quarterback for Michigan. Actually was the quarterback in the Citrus Bowl.
Yep.
Yes, it was the Citrus Bowl back then.
Yeah.
Arkansas played Michigan, Houston Nutt's first year.
Yeah.
That's how long Tom Brady has been playing football. Tom Brady is our age.
Yeah.
He's 44. He's a year younger than us. But 7 championships. They had the list. Only 3 players in sports has won 7 championships and 2 MVPs. One's Bill Russell, one's an NHL player, and the other one's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy is I don't know if Tom Brady would happen nowadays. Because here's the reality of the situation. Tom Brady got drafted in the 6th round, as you know, by New England.
Mm.
He was the 4th quarterback on the roster. They wouldn't have kept him. They may have threw him on the practice squad and good luck, but they kept him as the 4th quarterback.
Yeah.
I just don't, he would have been picked up and went through. It was such a long shot.
Yeah.
It happened and had the greatest of all time. The only reason he got the job was because Bledsoe got injured.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a story for everybody.
Yeah.
At some point, if you play football, if you're on a team, on a sports team, basketball, baseball, something, you're going to get an opportunity. It may be in practice. It may be in a game. I got my opportunity in practice. I blew it. It happened. Brady gets his opportunity and he goes and he takes the job, says, no, this is my job.
Yeah.
It's over. And 10 Super Bowls later, 7 championships.
And what he's done, the way he's done it, Clint, he's done it in a way, he does whatever it'll take to win.
Yeah.
If Belichick would tell him to hand the ball off and he's only going to throw it 10 times, he was fine with that. If he was going to throw the ball 70 times a game, he was fine with that. If he, whatever he did, it was to win the game. And then he would now, look, you can argue, well, he's got Giselle giving him money too, making money. It doesn't matter.
I'm trying to shoot holes in my argument already.
It doesn't
think about it.
No, but he took less money to play a position, look, Seattle's probably not going to win a title because Russell Wilson went for the money grab. Okay. You can't put teammates around him because they got too much money sunk into Russell Wilson. That's going to happen to a lot of these quarterbacks if they don't do what Brady did. Brady would take less money and he would organize it to where it was money that wouldn't count against them, so they could get him receivers, so they could get him defensive guys, so they could get him offensive linemen. And that, to me, that if people would watch how he did things, man, he did them the right way. I mean, there's a lot of things, we might could question about the guy, but it's a big one. It's a big one that's leaving us.
I mean, there's some of the stuff he's done that'll just never be touched.
Yeah.
Only quarterback to win the win the Super Bowl in both leagues. You know, of course, Peyton did it. Manning did it with two different teams, but they were both AFC teams. He did it in the NFC and the AFC. He simply put, he's the GOAT. I don't even think there's any dispute in it. But that being said, Travis, can I get back on the must bus?
I don't know, Clint. I don't know if we're ready for you yet.
Is there
I don't
room?
know.
Can I jump back on?
I don't know if you're sincere. I don't know if you really believe yet.
Okay, I do think I don't think, in all sincerity, I don't think they're a top 10 team. I don't. I do think that to a degree they've gelled, and Musselman. Well, yeah, I wish he'd play KK Robinson more. I think he's figured out his rotation. By more, I mean I wish he'd just play him, because. But he. But no, there's 6 in a row, big win, and it really wasn't close. I mean, West Virginia made a run of it. It was kind of like one of those NBA runs where you get out so well and they make a run, but it's like it takes so much out of you to make that run that you just can't take it over.
And the whole game, our players were relaxed. When they would bring it close, our players would just dig in and score. We're not winning pretty. We're not winning with offensive barrages. We're winning, Musselman's talking after the game, and he's, there's players, who was it? Stanley Umude or whatever. One of them scored 19 the other night. And he said, we ran no plays for him. He said, those are extra points. Those are, he's just getting gritty and finding ways to score. I'm loving what I'm seeing, to be honest with you. I really am, because
I think
they whatever it takes to win. What we talked about, we loved in Brady. That's what this team's doing.
Yeah,
they hit threes, but they're not hitting threes, so they're just doing whatever it takes to win.
And now they go on the road, and road wins in the SEC are not easy. I don't care if it's the worst team in the SEC or the best. It is hard to go on the road and win in the SEC. And if you
look at Missouri, beats Alabama at home and then comes to us and look like they were a junior high team.
We don't win often at Ole Miss. Our record's pretty dismal there. Now, a lot of that is Ole Miss has historically had a lot of Arkansas kids going back to Keith Carter. That loved nothing more than come back, stomp on the Razorback, the kids that felt slighted by not getting recruited to Arkansas. They don't have any of those this year. They have one an athletic director, but I
bet old Keithy boy was wanting to win bad.
Oh yeah, but no, they're looking good. They're looking impressive. I'm real impressed, and hopefully you've seen it turn the corner. And on the thing of figuring out the lineup, Chris Lykes has seen his, which we've talked about. He's kind of like last year's Connor Vanover, where everybody loved to hate on him, especially Travis. Well, I know you haven't. I've not seen too much Lykes hate from you, but I have. He's seen his minutes decrease. He really has. He played a minute at Ole Miss. He played 8 minutes against West Virginia.
But those 8 minutes against West Virginia, he played some good minutes.
Yeah. But, like this last game, DeVaughn came off the bench. I think he's figuring out the best plays for everybody. And there may be a game where, Lykes gets in, he plays so good that you can't take him off the court. And that's your job, is when you get in the game, is to play so good he can't take you off the court.
Well, Clint, think about this. If I told you that we would be where we're at right now, record-wise, at the beginning of the season, and that DeVaughn Davis wasn't contributing that much, that JD Notae was being streaky at best, and that Imude and Stanley. Or who's the other one? Is
Tate.
Huh?
You got Tate.
Tate.
Yeah. He's one of the big guys.
Wade.
What was it, Wade?
Wade.
Maybe
the one that's
I've been paying a lot of attention.
Tate was the point guard that we had last year.
You're right.
Well, if I told you that none of those guys were really like the leaders of this team, where it's Jalen Williams and Note are the two scorers, and then you got a guy named Trey Wade, which who knew who Trey Wade was? And if I told you who the starting lineup was right now, would you have believed it?
No, not at all.
But that's thankfully Musselman's willing to work those things together and figure it out and make it work. And
Tony was who I was thinking of when I said
Tony. Yeah,
I knew there was a T in there.
Yeah, Tony.
But I was butchered it. But yeah, SEC wins the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Arkansas contributed to that with a big win, a big non-conference win over West Virginia.
Yeah,
two teams that have been playing very similar this year. If I had to complain about it, is they had them down by close to 20. And West Virginia made a run to make it close. You'd like to see them when you got a team on the ropes to go ahead and deliver that knockout blow.
Yeah,
they really, really, really. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah,
that should have been. You should have seen the little walk-ons that sit on the end of the bench. You should have saw them get in that game.
Yeah,
that was that kind of spread. So that's my one complaint about the West Virginia game. I mean, it's hard to complain against a win against a Bob Huggins coach team.
Yeah. No. Well, and it's the thing is, Clint, this team is playing. They're playing gritty. They're playing tough. They're playing hog basketball. Okay, they're playing that's one thing I like about them. This is what we wanted to see in hog basketball. We want to see gritty. They're willing to take intermediate shots. Jalen Williams is playing out of his mind. And it looks like they're having fun on the court.
Yeah.
And that means a lot. That means a whole lot.
No, and this is definitely a different team than lost to Vanderbilt.
Mm.
It really is. They seem like they figured some stuff out.
Which, once again, I hate to say it.
You were right.
I told you.
You were right. I was wrong.
We'll see. There's still a lot of season to go.
Now you made your coaching debut. I don't know if it was your debut.
It was my debut. It was my second time coaching. Okay,
I worked at coaching debut. Or no, not
Bearded. Sparkman High School. Okay, or Sparkman School. Sparkman's a small school that has been taken over by Harmony Grove, Camden Harmony Grove, but the people in Sparkman, like, it's 30 minutes away from Harmony Grove. And so they kind of stood up and said, hey, we don't want our kids to have to bus that far. So anyway, we don't have athletics at our school. The kids have to go to Harmony Grove if they want to be in athletics. And so there's a lady she's a coach there. She does PE and stuff like that. She puts together some games so the kids can kind of a reward for them, and then they use them as a fundraiser for the community, for like PTA, stuff like that. And so they've done these where we split just the junior high and high school kids, and then they play each other. And my team won last time. Okay. We did that a few months ago. Well, this time it was an old timers game. So I got all these young guys playing against all these older folks. Now, Clint, we know how that usually goes, right?
No. In theory, you think, the young kids have it, but yeah, because we had that game in when we were in school, and we had this math teacher named Clay West. We called him Old Scooter Foot because he'd scoot his foot, and he was an unusual looking man, to say the least.
Couldn't even walk down the hall; he just scoot his feet.
But dad gum could he hoop?
He hit how many threes in that game? Probably.
Yeah, he just torched us. There was nothing you could do.
I told my kids about that. I told them that story. I told them, I said, because, that year we had, our senior class, we had Ryan Reed, we had Jamie Riddle, we had all those guys. And then we had guys like me and you and Robert and Wes. And guys that played a lot of basketball.
Yeah. And
so, we had we put a pretty good squad out there. We had, Brian Miller, and we had a pretty good squad.
What do we get beat by, like 30?
I don't know, man. They destroyed us.
But yeah, I remember and Coach and Mr. West, he went on to he went to school, I guess, to be a coach.
Yeah.
And he just kind of got stuck with the math job. And so he went on and he coached other teams in Faulkner County. He ended up having I think a real good run at Quitman and Guy as a basketball coach.
Yeah.
He really knew the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so anyway, I told these kids, I said, look, I said, guys, I'm going to tell you what it takes to win a game like this, but you're going to have to do it. Okay. And I said, and I had one practice with them, so it's not like I'm really coaching them much. I said, and I got, all the way from 7th grade up. Okay. And so I told him, I said, look, we're gonna do spacing and keep moving all the time. Just keep moving. And you got to pass the ball. You can't just come down and jack up shots. Because if you do that, you're going to play right, because they're going to pass the ball. They're going to play smarter than us. And they're going to do all the things I just said because they're older and they're wiser. And they may have years of chain smoking in their lungs, but that's okay. There's enough of them. They're going to still beat us because they're going to play smarter.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that's what happened. Yeah. However, by the end of the game, I was trying to get everybody points. That didn't happen. But Clint, I had two young boys that, they're not very athletic, bless their heart. This one little boy, he's an awesome kid, but he is all shoulders and chest and head. He's just a big old barrel, okay? And his arms are short. And every time he dribbles, the ball just gets stuck between his arm and his chest. But he scored a point, man, and that gym went nuts. And then I had another kid that he scored, and they know they're not the better players or whatever, but man, and my senior high boys were so excited for them. They were jumping out and just cheering and yelling for them, and so it was just really cool, man. It was a cool.
Yeah, it probably sounds like it's an awesome experience, if nothing.
Yeah, it was.
So there's a lot of problems in sports, and I think there's only two people in this world qualified to fix all the sports problems.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and that's me and you.
Big C and bigger T, baby.
That's exactly right. Clint Clark and Travis Johnson, we're here to fix all.
We're gonna fix them all right now.
Right now, and the biggest one, and I put this first on the list when we talked about, is the Baseball Hall of Fame needs fixed.
Yes.
It needs fixed. Now, how do you fix it? Because right now, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are Hall of Famers.
Yes.
Listen, I know there's a lot. Well, they use steroids. When they were playing, it wasn't illegal, first off. They didn't cheat. Okay, it was against the law.
Okay, it was against the law, but still.
But now neither one of them's ever tested positive. Bonds, of course, admitted that he used the clear or whatever they called it, which was a cream used. These guys are professional athletes. They know what they're putting. I say that, but when I was a college athlete, I didn't care what I put in my body. Yeah. But I wasn't a high level like that. I like the way the NFL does it. There's no excuse for baseball to ever have a year where they have nobody goes in like they have.
Yeah.
Of course, this year they had Big Poppy. Big Poppy, I think, was a no-brainer Hall of Famer.
He was busted for it. There was more proof of him than there was some of those other guys.
Yeah. So what I think you need to do is you need to have a committee. It can change. I mean, but have a committee of sports writers and this and that, and y'all go in a room and you come out. You have this pool of eligible players. You go and then you go. Okay, here's who's the final 10, and then every year you have 5 players that go in. We're going to induct 5 every year of the top 5. Whether if you have a year where you got your Derek Jeters and stuff like that are no-brainers, great. If you have them years that you kind of got to go, okay, well, yeah, maybe we'll take a flyer on somebody. Now, that's not to diminish what they did. You could, I don't know if you put some, I mean, what would you think? Will you put something on the plaque, or, the little bio, put, he was accused of this, kept him out of the Hall of Fame? Or,
I mean, I've been to the Hall of Fame. You put something up there saying during this era, do put something up there about the steroid era.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Don't shy away from it. Here's the reason, Clint. They knew it was happening.
They did.
They knew it was happening and they didn't stop it. When Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa went off, it saved baseball, Clint. They knew they were cheating, but they let it go because it saved baseball. And so if the powers that be were letting it go, then who are they who's some sports writer? And here's where I have a problem. We had the Jeff Garcia Mia Khan thing. I'm getting fired up here, Clint.
Go ahead, man.
Got a bunch of crotchety sports writers that will not let 100% vote happen, for one thing. And then you got people that were buddies with Giamatti when Pete Rose got in trouble, that are going to let Pete Rose die before they let him in, because they promised it to Giamatti before he died. That's why Pete Rose won't go in, because these guys that were buddies with Giamatti, because Giamatti felt like Pete Rose did lie to him. Pete Rose has admitted he lied to him. Pete Rose has admitted he did wrong. Okay. He bet on his own team. He bet on everything. He did wrong. Okay. He's still one of the best players ever.
Ever.
You can't argue
it. He's a creep, immoral, but no, he's a Hall of Fame baseball player.
And let it happen while he's alive.
It's a crime when Gary Carter, and Gary Carter's a good baseball player, a very good baseball player. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's not a Hall of Fame level baseball player. He's just not. If any Gary Carter fans out here, they flood my inbox with hate. My DMs
on the Mets when the Mets were popular. They had Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden.
That's pretty much it. He might have been the 5th best player on that team.
He was good on the mic, so he got the recorders.
That was it.
And there's a lot of baseball players that are in there because they're good on the mic.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if Gary Carter's a Hall of Famer and Bonds and Clemens and Rose aren't, you have a problem. And that's how you fix it, I think. Is you have a committee. You use some common sense. This just sending all these things out to baseball writers, and you got your crotchety old guys that like analytics.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we need to move on to our next one too. But and on that committee, let's have people that are playing right now, because they're the ones that grew up idolizing some of these guys. And so let's let them help decide by who they idolize and who they pattern their game after. Okay. Because I guarantee you there's people that they modeled some of their swing off Barry Bonds because he was a good hitter, despite the fact that he added muscle to his body with the cream and the clear.
Yeah.
So
well, we fixed the Baseball Hall of Fame.
okay, you got that fixed.
You're welcome. Now the next one up is targeting.
Yeah.
And I love what you've come up with. Well, you said, flagrant 1, flagrant 2.
Mm.
You get 2, and then you have to set out a game.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is you're unfairly changing the game.
Yeah.
Everybody universally hates this rule. I don't know one coach that likes it.
Yeah.
Because number one, they can't get it right when they call it. They keep messing it up.
Yeah.
They do. So if you can't get it right, then get rid of it and let's fix it. And but now I'm also dead set against, just having the, Sports Center, we had the you got jacked up segments, which is pretty much watching people spearing defenseless wide receivers over the middle.
Yeah.
You don't need to go back to that.
No.
What we know about head injuries and the head nowadays,
Yeah.
you can't go back to that. But I think you came up with give them 2, flagrant 1, because I don't think the way they coach football now, I don't think you see it happening intentionally too much.
And make that first one is a serious penalty, but yeah. And here's the other thing on that, Clint, and it goes back to something I've said on here before. Okay. And it's not something on our list here, but it's fixing the replay. Okay.
Yeah.
And the targeting is because that's, they'll go and they'll do a replay of it and they'll come back and they're just going to do whatever the field guy says.
Oh, they get it wrong all the time.
And so once again, my thing is that replay official needs to be somebody that has never been a field official. And once again, if you're hearing that for the first time, you're thinking, well, that doesn't make sense, Travis, that, why not have someone that's been there and done that? Because a lot of those calls, they don't want to show up the guy on the field. And that's why they won't overturn them. If they'll go with whatever the play was called on the field before they'll overturn it to make the guy look bad. So get some nerd that, kind of like we got these, these sportscasters that they just study stats and stuff, get some nerd that just knows the rule book backwards and forward, that understands technology and knows how to run the video screen, and let them just be in a room somewhere and making those decisions. And that way there's no connection. There's no connection to, well, I can't let one of my brothers, because I know there's a camaraderie between the officials. I understand that. And that's good that that's there, but it hurts in these games. So anyway,
another one that we didn't put on the list that I think needs fixed is the flopping in college football.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you go down like that, whether it's obvious or not, I think it's either a timeout or to get the guy back on the field, or he's out for that entire series.
That's one of those things, Clint. I don't know if there's a way to do it during the game.
Yeah.
I think the way to do it may be where you watch game film and you see that they did it, and there's some sort of penalty for the next game, or some kind of fine that the coach has to pay.
Yeah.
Or the school has to pay. Kind of like the flood in the field, the rush in the field, there's a fine that they have to pay. So something like that, to where if you're doing that, it's going to cost you one way or another. And I mean, that really, I think that's about the only way, because it's hard, because, if they're really hurt, you don't want to, if there's really a cramp or something, you don't want to make lightly of that. But watching the game film, you can see if they're taking them over to the sideline, they're not doing anything to them, and they're back in the next play. Okay.
Yeah. No, Walt Coleman even said he's on the buzz. He's like, who, was the referee for the tuck rule and all that. He even said, he goes, man, last thing, he goes, officials don't want to make that call, whether a player's faking or not. You want to go for the benefit of the players. But anyway, that was just something I think two good things there. Now, last week was probably the best week of NFL games we've seen. But I hated the end of the Kansas City Buffalo game. We knew whoever won that coin toss was going to win.
Yeah.
The NFL overtime needs fixed. What I would like to see myself personally, I'd like to see the same overtime from high school football to the NFL.
Yeah.
And, the way Arkansas, for those of you, Arkansas's overtime is you get the ball at the 10, alternating possessions.
Yeah.
That's high school here in Arkansas. I don't know if there's a go for two rule like there is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That I'm not sure. I don't like the new NCAA where they put the ball at the 25 and then first one's regular, second one you got to go for two, and then after that it's just alternating 2-point conversions. That's dumb.
Yeah.
I think the best one was what the NCAA had before. Ball on the 25-yard line, third overtime, go for two. Yeah. If it happens to go 10 overtimes, it happens to go 10 overtimes. But that is the best, most entertaining finish.
Yeah.
And you don't ever leave feeling like, well, this was won out of the coin by the coin toss. Yeah. And a lot of the pundits have always said, well, you take the special teams out. Well, you know what? If you don't want it to come down, if you want the special teams to be involved, win the game in regulation. And in overtime, that's how we do it.
I want to run one by you that I heard on a national sports radio. I forget who it was, but I thought this was interesting. They said do 2 coin tosses at the beginning of the game. You do one coin toss to see who gets the ball at the beginning of the game. And you do a second coin toss to, if there is an overtime, to decide who's going to have the ball. So that way, when it comes down to the end of the game, if you're the team that lost that overtime coin toss at the beginning of the game, you may be more apt to go for the win instead of going for the field goal to tie at the end of regulation.
Yeah, and man, and also I hate games ending in ties. We had a couple ties this year. You almost saw a team make the playoffs because the game was going to end in a tie.
Yeah.
Or the team not make the playoffs. I think the Steelers about missed the playoffs because the game was going to end in a tie. No, this ain't soccer.
Yeah.
It's football. And so I'm just dead set against, that.
Well, I thought that was interesting to do the coin tosses at the beginning. So that, okay, you're driving, okay, look, I don't have a chance to get the extra point or get the coin toss. I know the other team's already got it. So I'm at the 10-yard line. Instead of being conservative, I'm going to go for the end zone on these next couple plays because if I go into overtime, whereas instead of running the ball 2 times on the last 2 plays and thinking, well, if I get in, I get in. If not, I'll kick a field goal and go into overtime. And then I may get the ball first. Well, you already know if you don't get it first. So you may go for that end zone all 3 times or.
Well, and at least they fixed it where it's not decided. It's not completely sudden death. You at least got to score a touchdown. Because teams that just play for a field goal, these NFL kickers are just insanely good now.
Yeah.
I mean, they just are. I mean, it's a rare, it's just, especially if you have a good one.
Yeah.
It definitely, it needs fixed because today I was watching the Cincinnati Kansas City game. Brandon Allen comes out, calls the coin toss, picks heads, it's tails. And I sent you guys Marco Polo. I'm like, well, I hope Brandon Allen just didn't cost the Bengals the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then they intercepted Mahomes. And so it was, but I was like, man, Brandon Allen just lost this game for Cincinnati.
Yeah. All right, Clint, we talked a lot about this one, the transfer portal. Regulating that one, that one's going to be a tough one to fix.
Pandora don't go back in the box, my friend. It's out, and that's the problem. Is I wrote this down. I don't know if I've come up with a solution because I thought about all these when we made the outline. Was like, in the NIL, we'll bring that in with it. Is like, okay, it's out there. It's out there. I don't know how to fix them.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't, because you can say, okay, you have this limited cap. You have X amount of dollars that you can. No, it's their likeness. They should be able to make as much money as they want to.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. And it's the portal. It's like, why bother if you have a freshman quarterback to recruit a quarterback, because no one's going to come in and sit behind him for years. He's going to get some mop-up time, and he'll be just basically auditioning for other schools to see him in the portal.
I do think the best legitimate, I think, that could be done, the Pandora back in the box kind of thing that could be done that I've heard is probably, I think Trey Biddy said it, is make them stay at the school at least 2 years before they can transfer.
But see, the problem with that is, and I love that in theory, but this is just me playing devil's advocate here. I signed with the University of Arkansas to run Brett Bielema's system.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a running back. I'm a true freshman. I'm at my first year of the school. Here comes Mr. Left Lane Hammer Down.
Yeah, I think you would have to have some kind of waiver in case of a change of coach, probably.
But here's why we have the portal, because there was common sense things like that would happen. Yeah. Not Mike Woods transferring to Oklahoma because he thinks it is this, not those two linemen from Missouri transfer him in.
Yeah.
So, but you would have legitimate guys. My grandma's 6, I want to move home.
Yeah.
NCAA be like, no, you can't do it. The NCAA, they've got it wrong so many times. You can't trust them to get it right.
Yeah.
And that's why you have the NIL. That's why you have the portal, because the NCAA would not use common sense.
Yeah.
Is you can't, you just couldn't trust them to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's why we're in the boat we're in.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What's your beef with the NCAA tournament?
You know what? I don't even know why I put that on there.
Okay.
I put it on there. No. Okay. Now I remember now. Here's part of the problem I have with the NCAA tournament, and I don't know how to fix this. So you got UALR, for example, in the Sun Belt.
Mm.
Let's say ULR, they go 20-4. They go undefeated in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
But they lose, of course, all their big games against the money schools where they go play.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a good team. They have a real good team. They win the Sun Belt. They lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Their star player turns his ankle. He's going to be fine for the tournament. They don't make the tournament. They end up getting stuck at the NIT. And whoever the team that went, let's say Texas State was the 8th team and they win the Sun Belt tournament. I don't think that's right. That's my beef with the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Was conference champions, because you can't tell me that these kids from UALR, and you've seen it happen, where like a team wins the conference regular season, they get in, they stub their toe in the tournament.
Yeah.
That needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
They at least got it fixed now where the kids get an automatic NIT bid.
Yeah.
That was when I put this in with her down. That's what I was.
Okay.
Now you see my point now.
Yeah, I do. Now the last one is, one that the NFL has been trying to get fixed for a while now, and they're still concerned. And it's there's a lot of different ways to look at this one. But the Rooney Rule, okay, and the Rooney Rule is that whenever you're hiring for a GM or a head coach, I guess, is it just those two?
I believe it's just those two. Yes.
You have to at least interview someone, a minority, of someone of color. Isn't that how the rule goes? I mean, it's
I think you have to interview two now.
two.
Part of the reason, I put this on the list is we're down, I believe, to 3 head coaches of color, 2 African Americans, and then you have Ron Rivera, which is Latino. And so far, I'm going to say I've been disappointed in the coaching cycle because I don't think one African American coach has been hired. And there's still jobs out there. And you saw 2 guys, Coffee out of the Texans. He got fired after 1 season. I don't think he should have been fired. And then Flores got fired in Miami, and they got roasted for firing him.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible, Flores. He should have been fired. The dude from the Texans, there's a lot of talk he wasn't ready anyway.
Yeah,
that was a here's the deal, Clint, on that. I'm a firm believer that every person should get a fair shake, and you should hire the best guy for the job out there. Doesn't matter what color skin he has or anything. But the sad truth is we live in a world where there's some that don't get the chances because of their color of their skin.
True. And
it's just the truth. That's just the way it is. They're not seen as, we've talked about it with, we haven't talked about it, but, that's been talked about with black quarterbacks, and, that's changing, thankfully. But it's, in coaching, we still haven't seen, like you're talking about, in a league that's predominantly black, we're not seeing a lot of black players and black coaches. Now, if I was, and this is just me talking, if I was, and I'm not, and I don't understand what it's like to be black, but if I was being interviewed and the only reason I got an interview was because the color of my skin, I wouldn't want to be that guy either.
No, and forever it seemed like everybody interviewed Dennis Green just to satisfy the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, and
whether they had any intention of
hiring or not. To me. Yeah,
you can't tell me that Eric Bieniemy does not belong as a head coach in the NFL. Yeah. Byron Leftwich deserves to be a head coach in the NFL. And those are just 2 off the top of my head. There are high quality African American assistant coaches that deserve to be head coaches. And that's not to diminish anyone that's already been hired, but there's names that have been hired. I would hire those 2 over. Yeah. No, those both have coached Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Now, Leftwich, of course, coached Tom Brady. That's not hard. Yeah. But he kept, but at the same time, managing an ego like that is not easy.
Yeah.
At all. And so yeah, you can say, oh, well, he was coaching Tom Brady. Well, you don't understand what it's like to coach Tom Brady.
Working your way up to being a coordinator in NFL is not easy.
No,
it's not easy. And that's to be respected. I don't care who you are. And so, I mean, I agree with you. I'm not sure if just forcing a token interview is the right way. There may be a way that the NFL could,
there's only one way, in my opinion, to fix it. I don't think the rule itself is broken. I think the guys that are doing the hiring have to do better.
Yes.
They have to do better.
Yeah.
Now, you look at Mike Tomlin, for example. Mike Tomlin got the interview because of the Rooney Rule. He knocked it out the park and has been a great head coach. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing record in the NFL. And he's won a Super Bowl.
You can't argue he's one of the best coaches in the league we've seen. And
I loved it when they when he was rumored for the South Carolina, not South Carolina, the USC job.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ask me that? I'm an NFL head coach. I ain't going to college.
Yeah.
He just like, y'all ain't asking this coach that. He just basically, he's like, everybody should, and when they connect you to a job that you're not interested in, that's how you should answer it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. It needs to be fixed. But it needs to be fixed in a way. But Clint, what happens though is these owners, they just get people they're buddy with, or if you're Jerry Jones, you just get a yes man. And you don't want someone getting that either. And what's sad is a lot of these guys that I think could be good coaches end up in really bad ownerships that hire them. Like the guy from the Dolphins. He ended up in a bad, underneath a bad front office. And that's why he's not coaching there, even though he proved himself, Yeah. You got, to me, I mean, that's, I don't know, Hugh Jackson, he could be argued, but
well, you got to say the Browns at least kept him after an 0-16 season.
But it was not his fault they were 0-16.
No. The next year I saw him making mistakes.
As a Browns fan, I know it starts at the top. And ownership is where the Browns' problems start. Okay. When your owner, his first year as an owner, is getting raided by the FBI in his home offices where he owns his Flying J truck stops, you probably got a bad owner. Okay. He's probably not a good owner thing he's owning. Okay. So that's just, And
the owners also, when you hire a coach, like for Miami and Houston, and Coffee may just not have been ready. That's fine, but it don't matter who the jobs are coming. Jobs usually ain't coming open because they have a good team.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like the coach is usually just a missing piece.
That's true.
For the University of Arkansas. Anyway, so you're Chad Morris, Jeff. But is they're coming over because they're bad? Be a little patient with them too.
Yeah.
It's coming over because they're bad. But yeah, I don't think the rule in itself needs to be broken. I just think the ownership, the general managers, those folks, they need to do better.
Yeah.
Period. The end.
Yeah. Well, Clint, we fixed a lot of things, man.
We did. And if they just listen to us,
man, think how much it'd be how much better it'd be.
I think we ought to run for president and vice president.
Well, until you start hearing my way to get rid of concussions.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. No helmets or no face mask.
No face mask.
No face mask. I did the John Cena.
You take away the face mask, I'm gonna protect the moneymaker.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna stick it in there, and so I ain't gonna get no concussion. When we used to play pickup ball in the backyard, did we have concussion issues? No, because it hurt when you hit your nose.
You know who gave me my first concussion?
Who's that?
Robert Branscombe.
Did he?
Yeah, we were playing two-hand touch.
Yeah.
Down at Greenbrier High School, and I caught one go over the middle. Branscombe just speared me right in the side of the head with the top of his head.
Oh, nice.
I woke up like, oh.
Wow.
Looking at the stars, like, oh.
Well, speaking of which, we got some good news about the podcast the other day. Last week we talked about the Wagon Wheel restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And
Robert, where are you going with this? I can't remember. Yeah, no.
Robert was there eating breakfast and told them about us talking about them, and now they've offered to give us a plate of biscuits and gravy next time we stop by.
Yeah, for free. I just gotta.
Yeah, man. That's
Chris Nelson. Like, hey, I'm with the Big C Bigger T podcast.
That's right.
That's we eat biscuits and gravy.
Yeah,
this may be the best deal ever. This may beat Mick Foley.
That's right.
I mean, it really.
That's right, man.
Living that podcast dream.
I know, man. Man, getting paid in biscuits and gravy from the wagon wheel. What you talking about?
You know, it is funny. Is I thought with football season, like we're gonna have to really search for stuff. I mean, there's stuff we didn't get to. We got our 2 new position coaches at the University of Arkansas.
Yep.
You know, I mean, there's a lot going on, and we, of course, as soon as we jump off here, I'm going to run to the living room, finish watching the NFC Championship game. We'll be previewing the Super Bowl next week.
That's right.
So yeah, a lot going on.
Lots of stuff going on in the world, and we appreciate
close to our 1-year anniversary.
That's right, and folks, we appreciate y'all listening to us. Whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or maybe Neil Young won't care if you listen to us. But you know, whether you're watching us on YouTube, whatever it is, we're so thankful that anyone would listen to us. We got some great listeners out there. I know, once again, to shout him out, my buddy Michael McDaniel was catching up on our podcast the other day. I called him. He was behind a couple weeks, but he was catching up. He said, I was just listening to you on my phone and now you're calling. So
I think Gabe gets a kick out of being the first watch when you upload it. He'll always like first view, first comment on the podcast. We appreciate you, Gabe.
Yeah, man, Gabe. Clint may talk bad about you, but you're my man. I don't even know you, but
no, Gabe,
I like your style.
I need to get Gabe on here one day just so we can do a prank episode, because me and him have pulled some good pranks on each other, and neither one of us ever really got butthurt either. That's what was good about it. So,
well, folks, like and share and all that good stuff. Let people know about the podcast if you like it. We got a lot of things we're hoping to continue to do and talk about and all that good stuff. I got settled in here and in new podcast studio, and I'm excited about what we can do. So we appreciate you, Clint. As always, it's been fun. Hey man, it's almost Super Bowl time.
It's almost Super Bowl time, guys.
Almost.
Football season is about over with, man.
Sorry, the big game. All right, man. Well, this is number 47 in the books. It's in the books, Clint.
5 weeks from turning a year old.
47. Okay, we're 5 away from 1 year, buddy. Can you believe it? I can't believe it.
Maybe we do like a 1-year-old birthday party where you get a whole cake to yourself.
Yeah, and just smash into it, you know. But I always thought that was funny. You spend a whole year trying to teach a kid to eat properly, and then on their first birthday, you say, "Now forget all that. Get in your diaper and just get dirty, kid."
Dude, Austin was the only kid I've ever seen sit there and eat the entire thing.
Did he? That's awesome.
Austin sat there and he was just slow and methodical about it. Just like, hey man, ain't nothing but a step for a stepper, y'all.
Well, y'all, seriously, thank you for listening to us and watching us. Guys. Clint, dude, love you. Have a great week. And turn the page.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come.